Okay, so I just got done watching the Fed announcements, and I've got some thoughts on this, as you might imagine. What's crazy to me is pretty much everything that they do is just kick the can down the road. That's pretty much every one of their announcements is, okay, well, in the future, we're going to do this. Okay, well, now we're going to double rates. We're going to double our rate on tapering in the future, and we're just going to do that now, and that'll be in 2022, right? So there's 8 meetings in 2022, and what's laughable is the only thing really in stone is that they're saying that they're going to raise it to 0.9% by the end of 2022. Now, what's really funny about this is that they said specifically, when I say they, Jerome Powell said this, he goes, we're not going to raise the rates to a measly 0.9%. And it's like, why'd you pick 0.9%? Was putting a whole number out there just too scary, Jerome? Was it just too scary to put, a real percent out there? You had to put it 0.9%. Like you're at the dollar store. Oh, wait, the dollar store is actually a $1.25 store now, but back in the day, it used to say 99 cents just to trick people's minds because it's a mind game. It's actually like statistically proven as a mind game that you're more accepting of seeing 0.99 than you are of seeing, 1 point something. So they specifically choose 0.9 by the end of 2022. But here's the real funny thing when I was digesting what Powell was saying is he actually said, oh, but we won't do this. We're not going to raise rates. This is a little trap door they always put in. They always have that, but we're going to do this, 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 and this, but, and here's the but. He goes, we're not going to raise the rates until we're finished tapering. And they're saying that they're going to finish tapering 2 meetings away, and they're rapidly ending the tapering. But here's the truth. The truth is the rates are still at 0%. It hasn't changed. That's the truth. So if they keep saying, oh, we're going to do this later on, we're going to kick the can down the road, it's going to happen by the end of 2022, we're going to get it to 0.9%. The actual numbers, they say 0.9% at the end of 2022, 1.6% at the end of 2023. Whoa, that's really going to stop 7% inflation, Powell. That's, wow, you're going to taper and you're going to raise it to 0.9%. Wow, that's going to really stop inflation. Congratulations, you really nailed it. It is laughable because they have printed over $13 trillion since the beginning of March. And since March 2020, there's been over $13 trillion printed. 5.2 trillion in a stimulus, then another 4.5 trillion in the quantitative easing, and then another 3 trillion into infrastructure. That is nearly half of the country's deficit was printed since 2022. Now we're in a situation where, well, guess what? Inflation is at 6.8% is what they're saying. Now, here's the real scary factor. They often say, well, we're not in stagflation because back in stagflation, back in 1970s, 1980s, when we were in stagflation, inflation, according to our CPI data, was much higher back then. We're only at 6.8% only. The difference is today's CPI data isn't the same CPI data as it was back in the 70s and 80s. That's the difference. If they actually use the real CPI data that they used to use back in the 70s, now they literally will do things where it's like they don't even get the real rental prices. They don't go to a person that's renting a house. Say you or I are renting a house or renting an apartment. They don't go to us to get our rent price. No, they go to the owner, and they basically get the owner to say, well, what would you charge for rent if you were to rent? What would you charge for rent if you were to rent? And then that's what they use in the CPI data now. Things like that. It's laughable how much, it's literally like this. This is what the CPI data is. It's like if you left a kid to do chores around the house, and then at the end of the day, you said, okay, look, I'm going to pay you $20 an hour, $10 an hour for all the work you did. So write down on a piece of paper exactly how much work you did. What do you think that kid's going to do? Like, I worked 50 hours in the day. I know there's only 24 hours, but I worked 50. I worked 100 hours. I worked 100 hours, not even 50. There's 24 hours. I still worked 100. Let me write it down real quick. You owe me 100 times $20. Boom. You owe me $2,000, Mom. Mom, Dad, you owe me $2,000. That's literally what they do with the CPI data. They eschew the numbers to meet where they want it to be, and even while eschewing the numbers, they get at 6.8%, which is growing at a ridiculously rapid rate like we haven't seen in decades. And so we're supposed to sit here and believe them that they're going to taper and you're going to raise the rates to 0.9%. Like that's going to really do damage here. Like that's really going to get inflation down. And now I'm going to show you some charts also on the right-hand side over here, and show you basically something that I've been looking at, which is very scary to me because we have never seen this kind of volatility in unemployment. They say unemployment is just, it's just plummeting down, and now unemployment's only at 4.2%. Ironically, but this is where it gets back to like the childish thing. Did they make it 4.20 on purpose? Did they make it 4.2% on the rate on purpose? I don't know. But it seems like somebody's messing with the numbers over here. So let me show you this real quick. I want to go over to my right screen over here. So when I go over to this screen over here, this is the actual historical inflation rate year by year. And you see it's over 6.7%, it's 6.8%. But when you go back, they'll go to things like this and go, well, it's not as bad as it was in 1980 and during stagflation of the early 80s and the early 70s. Well, here's the thing. See, this is like a little bit over a double from the prior years goes up. But this is literally going from 1.36%, boom, to 6.71. Like that jump is staggering. You do another jump like that, you're up here. But the other scary part here is that this data, this is a different CPI. This is a CPI that actually went over a basket of goods that mattered to the average American. Now they use a CPI that doesn't even include the gasoline prices. Oh, by the way, gasoline is up 58.1% in inflation. 58.1%. And they're not using that in this little basket of whatever they call CPI. I call it the Con People Intentionally Index. I think more people should use it. It really is, the Con People Intentionally Index. So it's laughable to me that they say, oh, well, it's only at 6 point some odd percent. It's not even 7%. Really, here's the truth. If you were to actually show the real data and you were to show, okay, this is what the actual CPI is. Like if you use the same CPI as you used back in the 70s and 80s as you did today, to measure it today, you would have an inflation rate of around 15%. That's the truth. It would be around 15%, maybe and change on top of that. So if inflation's really 15% right now, do you really think, to people in the chat room here, if they raise the rate by a measly 0.9% and they taper all of their ridiculous spending, keep in mind, if they taper the spending, it doesn't change the fact that they already spent. They already spent. The deficit's almost at $30 trillion. They spent over $13 trillion. And they're going to taper. Oh, you're going to stop spending after you've been crazy just printing your money printer. And now you're going to stop, and then all that's just going to be everything, no problem anymore. Back down to 2% inflation like our target price was. By the way, they said inflation was transitory back at 1.4%. This was in January 2021. Inflation was at 1.4%. They said it's transitory back then. They were saying it's transitory even prior to that, but 1.4% in January, and now we're at 6.8%. Really? And this is on an annual projection. So this is now a monthly change, and now they're only going to come out 8 times next year, and they're telling us, oh, but we're going to raise it to 0.9%. We're being real tough now. No, we're not being told the whole story here, and it's extremely scary to me. Because here's the real numbers. And I wrote down some things in front of me here. I got 11.1% inflation on new cars, 37.2% inflation on rental cars right now, 31.4% inflation on used cars right now, 58.1% gasoline inflation. Home prices are up 20%. Rent is up 17%. And they're going to go ahead and tell us CPI is only 6.8%. Does it seem like it's 6.8% when you're actually going to the grocery store and buying things that matter to you? Does it seem like it's 6.8% when you go to the gas pump? Does it seem like 6.8% when you're paying your rent? No, it doesn't. Because what's so flawed about the system that they've created is when you print and you print and you print a bunch of money and you artificially inject money through quantitative easing and all these different crazy things that they've done, well, now you have a system that is basically broken. And also, not only is the system broken, but the people who really benefit in a Keynesian world, Keynesian economics world, are the people who get the money first. The people like BlackRock, the people with money. They say, oh, we're going to go tax the rich. No, you made the rich uber rich. You're not going to tax. You made anybody who had assets got filthy rich during this time. That's what happened. So the rich got much, much richer and the poor got much, much poorer. And then here's another thing I wanted to show you all. When I go to this screen over here, So this is a scary chart here because this is the unemployment. We're told it's down at 420%. Okay, I can't even. Is this a simulation? 420%. They made it at 420. They really did that. That's a real. Look, it's right there. It's real. 420%. Yep. But here's what's crazy. At the beginning of everything, we see this ridiculous spike up to nearly 15% unemployment. And we're supposed to believe, with everything going on right now, that somehow it just plummeted down. We have never seen this kind of volatility in unemployment than what we've recently gone through. And so I keep arguing that we're in stagflation right now. But they're bragging about this number. They're bragging, oh, we have so much our unemployment figures are so far down. Well, what happens if we stayed up there and this is artificial? What if this was like the CPI? It looks pretty artificial to me. This looks like a pump and dump to me. Something doesn't look right here. This right here, way too much volatility when you're talking about jobs. And I understand that we had lockdowns, we had these things, but this doesn't seem right. Something is off here. And what I'm arguing is that we were already going to have deflation on jobs anyway due to technology. And I've talked about this in prior videos on stagflation, but I wanted to bring that up there because that doesn't make any sense to me to say, oh, well, let's brag about unemployment being down at the same time that the CPI is at these ridiculous highs of 6.8%. And somehow we're going to solve this problem by just raising the rates by 0.9%. And by the way, they're saying next year. And then also they always, in the middle of these talks, they always set the trap door where they go, well, if things got really out of hand, then we're going to change our minds and we're going to start printing and printing more. Know what I think? Here's what I think happens. I think they say they're going to taper. And the second that they do, when they stop printing, they see the market start plummeting. The stock market starts plummeting. Even Powell in today's conversation admitted that he said, yeah, people are getting pretty leveraged right now. Why wouldn't they get leverage? If you're like BlackRock and you get money at 0%, why would you not take that money at 0%, steal all the real estate, and then charge more for the rent? And that's why rent is up 17%. Because the rich went and took the free money, bought the assets, and are now going to charge the middle class and the poor a bunch more money for their rent due to their ridiculous money printing. That's what's happening. That's the real world scenario here. But back to the unemployment situation. In a stagflation environment, you need high unemployment and you also need high inflation. I'm arguing that the unemployment rate at 420%, 4.20% is not true. And it's just like the Con People Intentionally Index. I'm saying that that's not true. That's what I personally believe. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a YouTuber. It's just disclaimer. That's what I think. But it doesn't sound right to me when I see that ridiculous volatile chart that I just showed you doesn't seem right to me. When you have people taking Zoom calls, people getting rid of offices and just doing stuff via Zoom, there's like announcements of CEOs just laying off part of their whole company. They're doing these things because they didn't realize that they could cut parts of their company out. And then if you look up Tesla, for example, you look up Tesla's Gigafactory, it's just robots making cars over there. And eventually, it's like I've talked about this in prior videos, there's just going to be a roll of aluminum goes to the front and then cars shoot out the back and there's going to be no humans involved. But that's happening across the board regardless of the climate that we're in. People are not going to want to work if their wages are not going up relative to the basket of goods costing more and more and more. Why are people going to want to work? It doesn't make sense. If your wages are deflationary, but you're getting paid in an inflationary currency, you really think that unemployment rate is going to stay at 4.2%? I highly doubt that. So I would argue that we're in stagflation right now. And all the Fed is doing, and here's one thing that is actually admirable about Jay Powell, is why did he want to stay the Fed chair? I would have been out of there. I've been like, all right, I kicked the can real far down the road, guys. I kicked the can far. I'm out. I would have dipped. If it was me, I would have been like, all right, guys, on to the next one. You can pick up the slack. But he's staying. So scary. But, commendable. He's going to stay through this. But the funny thing is there keeps talking about raising rates. Here's the real thing. If you really were concerned, which you should be, inflation rates are at ridiculous highs. I would argue it's around 15% when you actually account for the real CPI that was used back in the 70s and 80s, not this crazy basket of whatever they put into this CPI. But this is already scary enough. Why not taper now? Why not stop? This is how you know they're bluffing. This is how you know Powell is bluffing. Why not taper right now? Stop printing money right now. Done. Today. Why not, put the interest rates at what you say they're going to be at 2024. This is already out of control. Put it at 2.1% right now. Why not just put it at 2% right now, Powell? Why not taper right now, Powell? Are you afraid that this market is ridiculously overvalued? Are you afraid that the dollar shouldn't have this kind of buying power right now? Are you afraid that the stock market could plummet by you doing that? And so you kick the can down the road and, we're going to use 0.9%. We're going to use this little, we're not even going to put it at a real percentage, 0.9% at the end of 2022, if they don't change their mind by then. I'm arguing what I think is going to happen. I think they do the tapering. They see the market plummet. They start raising the rates. They see the market plummet worse. They freak out again, and they do an excessive money printing. I would argue that they might even go into negative interest rates at that point. That's what I think happens. So right now, what am I doing? I'm still buying hard assets. I'm still buying things like silver, still buying things like platinum, still buying things like palladium. Even though we're hurting right now, I'm looking through this. And I'm also looking at Bitcoin, and I'm buying Bitcoin. I'm buying all of these things that I think are sound money. That's what I'm buying right now, and I'm sitting on that. And I'm also getting a cash position together to play hot potato with, because this is basically, it's like, what's the line? I'm gonna butcher it, but it's, we know they're lying, they know they're lying, we know that they know they are lying, they know that we know that they know they are lying, and still they lie. Something along those lines from the Gulag Archipelago. That is very, very equivalent to what we're seeing today. It's laughable, really, because there isn't a way out for them. They're stuck in a rock and a hard place. What do? You're gonna multiply the rate increases. That's what you're gonna do. You're gonna double down on your taper rate. I just don't see it. I don't see it. Let's see, is there anything that I've missed out on this? I wanted to touch on pretty much all of my different thoughts on this, but one of the things that just it's funny is that Powell is admitting, yeah, the market's kind of toppy. Yeah, these companies are over leveraged. Yeah, people are a bit over leveraged right now. But we're going to taper and we're going to increase interest rates. So this is actually a main point that I wanted to bring up as well, because I'm going to do another video talking about why Austrian economics is so much like there shouldn't even be a Keynesian economics. Keynesian economics is basically how do we steal from people, like, legally? Like, how do we rip people off, melt their ice cube away of savings, and force them into buying stuff with inflation? That's Keynesian economics. It's like literally the most flawed thing ever. And so what this whole climate is proving is that Keynesian economics is extremely flawed, and it only helps the rich, because in Keynesian economics, the people that benefit are the first ones who get the money. Who are the first ones who get the money? And this isn't the $1,400 check that some people just deposit into Robinhood, to YOLO, into AMC. This is not that. We're not talking about the stimulus right now. What we're talking about right now is people getting money at 0%. We're talking about Goldman. We're talking about BlackRock. We're talking about funds that strategically changed themselves so that they could enjoy this 0% interest rate and then go buy things like real estate, which is then going to be why your rent is up 17% because they control the rent prices. And they're going to change the rent prices. They control the things like that. And that puts us in a very bad position. So in Keynesian economics, when they excessively print $13 trillion in a bit over a year and a half, the people who benefit are the first ones who get that money. Those are the people who benefit. And was it the poor? No. It was the uber rich. The uber rich benefited from all this excessive money printing. That's why I laugh at people like Elizabeth Warren. Elizabeth Warren trying to dig into Elon Musk recently about, oh, you're not paying enough taxes. Thank you, Elon Musk, for finally going back at that. Good job sticking up for yourself. I got to give Elon Musk credit for that. He's like, he even said I paid more taxes than any other American in history this year, and you're coming after me. And then the funny thing he says right after that is he goes, don't spend it all in one place. Whoops, you already did. That's the thing. Like the way the government prints and spends money is just ridiculous. It's like a child with a checkbook that doesn't know how to balance it. Everyone else is expected to balance the checkbook like perfectly every single time, every year, perfectly balanced. They can't even figure it out. And then you have the president going out there and going, oh, well, America pays our debts on time. We pay our debts on time. That's why I raised the debt ceiling. Like, is this a parody? What's going on with the world right now? It's got to be a parody. This has got to be some sort of joke of some kind. To publicly go out there and put on your Twitter, America pays its debts. That's why I increased the debt ceiling. So basically, you overspent your credit card, and then you said that we're paying our debts by increasing our credit card limit. That literally happened. It's ridiculous. And so I see the same kind of behavior from the Fed. Long story short, I see the Fed coming out there and going, look, inflation's pretty high. Yeah, people are over levered because we injected a bunch of money in the economy, but we're going to taper somewhere down the line. We're going to taper 2 meetings away. We'll be back down to not spending any more money. But if something happens in the near term, we'll probably spend more money. And then on top of that, we're going to raise the interest rates to a measly 0.9%. And that's going to stop the inflation that is jumping dramatically every single time they come out. It went from 1.4% to 6.8%, up 5.4% in less than a year. That's not supposed to happen. The last time that happened was in the 80s. So I'm not buying it. I think it's a bluff. And I think what's really going to happen is the market will crumble when he actually does taper. When the Fed actually tapers and brings it down to zero and increases the interest rates, I think the markets crumble because it's been enjoying that money printer. And that's why all these stocks are ridiculously overvalued. Once that happens and markets start crumbling, that's what people forget. They always say in these conversations, and this is something I really want to drive home, they always say, well, if something happens down the line, if there's something that happens, we'll change our minds and then we'll start printing money again. Well, when you taper, something will happen. When you increase rates, something will happen. And that mind will change. And they will print more and more money because there's no way out for them. That is the only thing they can do is print more and more money and keep doing that to try to keep this thing afloat. And before you know it, you're going to see inflation rates that are at their true percentage at 15%, which is, I would argue, is where they're at right now, 15 to 20%. And in other categories, in certain categories, it's up a lot more than that. Gasoline's up 58.1%. But I would argue that the CPI is going to continue to go up and up and up. And I would also argue, by looking at the volatility on this chart that I just showed you on the right over here, that's not normal for jobs to have this kind of volatility. And I think that unemployments are going to go skyrocket. I think the unemployment rate will skyrocket and you will have an exact stagflation environment. I would argue that we're in that environment right now. I've done a lot of videos on stagflation. I would highly recommend checking those out. I think I've done 2 of them, one with a whiteboard and one just a regular talk on stagflation. But it's not being brought up enough because it literally is exactly the climate that we're in right now. And it's so ironic because we haven't seen the CPI jump year over year like this since the last time was stagflation in the 80s. They keep saying that, oh, it's been decades since it's jumped this much. Yeah, what happened when it jumped that much back then? Stagflation happened due to exactly the same scenarios that we have right now. And so I'm looking at this and I'm seeing the real what's happening right now. And it's the only reason the dollar index has been going up in my mind is because people are scared and they're jumping over to that hot potato money, getting ready to throw the hot potato money at some sort of safe haven. And that's what I see happening right now. When people are scared, they hold dollars and they get ready to throw it at something. But what happens when the dollar is wildly diluted and they realize the inflation rate is super high? Well, then they're going to throw the dollar even faster. And what happens in stagflation? The dollar's buying power plummets, the stock market plummets, and inflation skyrockets, and job unemployment skyrocket. That's what happens in a stagflation environment. And that's what we're not seeing just yet. And that's what I'm trying to warn my viewers. So hopefully, if you like this video and you want to see this video get out there to more people, please do. Let me get my cheesy pillow. If you could smash that like button, really do help. It helps get this video out there to more people, and it helps with the YouTube algorithm. And I'm trying to get to 25,000 subscribers. I'm kind of lagging out at 24, and I would love to see that 25 because I got the ADD thing. So if we get to 25,000, that'd be pretty cool on the channel. But on my channel, you can expect videos like this. I try my best not to hold back anything and just tell you exactly how I feel about this situation. I think that this is it's like childish even. And at some point, is anybody going to own up to what's happened here? Like, is anybody going to go out there and go, hey, we printed $13 trillion, guys. Inflation is a lot worse than we expected, and we're going to have to, I mean, if they really, I want to see this in the comments. I'm going to start looking at the comments right now. But what do you think? If they really wanted to drop the inflation rate down, what would they do? What would they have to do if they want to drop this inflation rate down? You'd have to see like 5% on the interest rates. You'd have to see it go from 0% to like 2.55%, and you'd have to see them taper right now. Why it's like don't tell me what you're gonna do. Show me what you're doing right now, Powell. Show me what you're doing right now. And what you're doing right now is nothing. This announcement is nothing. You kept the rates at 0%. You're giving away free money still to BlackRock, to all these funds that are going out and buying real estate with a 0% money. You're giving banks 0% money, aka interest rates are going to stay super low. People are going to get super levered. If anything right now, what's going to happen is people are going to get more levered. They're going to go out there and they're going to get more levered because they're going to go, okay, well, if they're going to increase interest rates, we should get these loans right now. Anybody thought about that? I'm thinking about it. I'm going, okay, well, if they're giving away money right now and money is basically diluted hot potatoes, well, let's get as much money as possible. Let's go get as much loans as possible. Take as much of this cheap money as possible and go throw it at assets. I'm thinking like that right now. So what I think is, if anything, this is going to have an opposite reaction to what the market is showing right now. I would say that people are going to go out there, get more highly levered, and then once they're extremely highly levered because they got all this free money because they kept interest rates at 0, that's what they really did. They talked about raising rates. They talked about it, but they said they won't raise the rates until they get finished tapering. And they're not finished tapering, which basically means they're still doing quantitative easing. They're still printing and printing money, and they're only going to stop. Once they stop printing money is only then that they're going to raise the rates up to a measly 0.9%. So all that's going to do is stimulate people to get more levered right now and take in more and more loans right now. And then after they get extremely levered and people realize we're in stagflation, we have higher unemployment than they're really showing, because I don't think that's that volatility. That chart, look at this chart again, just real quick. Does that chart look normal to you for unemployment? Like really? Does this look normal to you to see that? Right? Jumps up to 15%, plummets down to 4.2%. Like this chart that shouldn't be happening when it comes to jobs. And to think that it's going to be just perfect like that and it's going to keep going down like that, I highly doubt it. I highly doubt that. That doesn't make any sense to me at all. And as soon as that number goes back up to, say, 10%, 15% unemployment, which I really think it's there right now, and they're not showing the real unemployment. They're not showing how many people are accepting unemployment checks. They're not showing how many people got, laid off and whatnot like that. They're only showing certain little parts of this data, and it's just like the CPI. It's the con people intentionally index. I got to make up another one for the whatever the abbreviation is for the unemployment. But really, every single sign of stagflation is there. Every single sign of it. And as soon as there's some kind of supply shock, I would argue it probably will be oil again. I mean, it's already up 58.1%, and that's what caused stagflation last time, was the oil being a supply shock. Literally every little detail is exactly stagflation, and nobody's talking about stagflation, which blows my mind. They're always talking only about inflation. I'm saying we're in stagflation right now. People get extremely highly levered. The Fed does taper. They say they're going to interest rates. They get more and more highly levered. When they do that, it plummets the markets, and then once it's plummeted the market, now you're in a situation of major stagflation, and just I think it'll make 2007, 2008 look like nothing compared to what's about to happen. Because now you're getting even in 2007 and 8, you had a housing crisis. You had bad loans on houses. Today you have bad money. Yeah, it's a little different. It's a little different. You got bad loans on houses versus the entire money. All of the money is bad. I want to hear from everybody in the comments. Let me go to the comments over here. I know I get a little bit, this one, I had to rant on this one because I got done listening to that. And there's people saying like, oh, well, Powell really went out there and he did. No, Powell just BS'd everybody. Powell went out there and said, oh, we're going to kick the can down the road a little further. And then when we're done kicking the can, we're going to do something that doesn't change anything. This is the same individual that told you it was transitory back at 1.4% and now it's 6.8%. The same individual that back when gas was 50% less said things were transitory. No, it's not transitory. It's very obvious that it's not. And it's very obvious that they don't have any tools in their tool chest besides print more money and then dilute the system even more and cause more of this. So they're gonna say they're gonna do these things. They're gonna do these things, or if they're gonna say they do these things, and as they get closer and closer to doing these things, the market probably plummets. When you're in a new, like, how do they get away with excessive printing? How do they get away with diluting what people save in when you're in a crisis? They say they're going to taper. When they taper, it's going to cause a crisis. When they raise rates, it's going to cause a crisis. Markets plummet because it's already ridiculously overvalued with a bunch of fake money. And then the crisis hits, and then they're going to print a bunch of more, and then it's going to cause the same exact problem. They're going to do it over and over again until inevitably you just have, people just realize this is just fake money. That's what I think happens here. So in the near term, the most important thing is learning how to build your own business. I think that like even beyond silver, beyond, gold, platinum, palladium, all these things, Bitcoin, beyond all of that, what's more important than all of that is building your own money printer. Whatever your idea is, whether you have a t-shirt company, whether you have some website idea, whatever it is that you do, whatever your craft is, and don't underestimate how great it is to be a craftsman. There's not enough of them. Whether it's you're a plumber, you're a carpenter, you do, wallpaper, you paint, whatever it is, and you have your own way to make money, that's your money printer because you can charge more money just like the dollar store did. The dollar store went from $1 to $1.25. They changed their prices up 25% to compensate for this inflation because they know inflation's over 15% probably. They're like, yeah, it's going to cost more for our employees, it's going to cost more for stuff, so now it's a $1.25 store because they own the business. So the real key here, if you're watching this video, there is no link in my bios. If you notice that, if you go to my description, all it says is go follow me on Instagram. That'd be cool. I'm trying to get some Instagram presence going on over there. Would appreciate if you want to go follow my Instagram, just Rob Sultan on Instagram. That'd be rad. But I got nothing to sell you. There's no link in my bio. There's no affiliate marketing, nothing in there. I'm just doing these videos to rant. But the best advice that I could give is find a way to build your own money printer because you can change your prices to compensate for this inflation. That's the real solution. And it's not an easy problem to solve. It's extremely hard to find a way to make money. But that to me is the real solution and like an actual answer. The other answers are hard assets like silver, gold, platinum, palladium, all these things. And I actually am a big fan of Bitcoin. As you can see, I have that Bitcoin clock there. I've made quite a few videos about Bitcoin. Some people don't like that I like Bitcoin. I think when it comes down to Bitcoin, and specifically in this market where all the money is fake, I look at Bitcoin, at least I know it's a hard cap. At least I know it's in the digital realm. And at least I know I can have custody of this. And then when it gets way deeper into talks about nodes and how it's decentralized and all these different things, I don't want to go that far. That's not for this video. But I think that it's such an opportunity to have that. And if you don't have, and this is just not financial advice, just my personal opinion, it's not that I'm all in Bitcoin. It's that I think it is foolish to have none. I think that would be the thing I want to drive home about Bitcoin specifically. It is foolish to have no Bitcoin. You can say as much as you want, oh, it's a bad idea, it's this, and that, or you be negative about it. But to not have a 5% position in the only thing digital decentralized, I think that that's just bad risk management. Like, would you have liked to have a 5% position at the beginning of this in March? I think Bitcoin was like 4,000 a Bitcoin. It's just a risk management position. That's what I was talking about. I was talking about Bitcoin back when it was 10,000 on this channel, saying, hey, it's just good risk management. You know, have a 5% position, 10% position, have it sit there. And I think it's bad risk management to not have silver in your portfolio. I think it's bad risk management to not have platinum, palladium in your portfolio. And I think it's bad risk management to not have like 10, 20%, 30% dollars ready to throw at opportunities in your portfolio. But the most important thing is to build your own business. Find a way to build a business. That's my rant. Yeah, I think I've hit everything that I wanted to talk about. With this one, only on certain videos I'll put a little paper in front of me here, little notepad to talk about different things. But it just, and the last thing I guess to talk about is people don't talk about enough that inflation compounds. And compound interest is one of those wonders of the world when it's working for you. When it's not working for you, it's one of the most painful things in the world. People talk about this 6.8% inflation. People forget inflation can compound year over year over year over year, and you have a compounding growth with the inflation. Powell, have you taken that into your consideration on your CPI data, on your people intentionally index? Is that what, have you figured that out yet, that it's going to compound? Have you taken that into the equation, Powell? Because it looks pretty iffy from my end. Yeah. So what do you guys think in the comments? I'm looking at the comments specifically right now on the right hand side. I rant a little bit and I start getting tunnel vision, so I apologize if I missed your comments a little bit ago, but I'm looking at the comments now. Let me see here. Appreciate all the kind words, everybody. Rogan says Powell is simply lying. I really love that line that Raza just said. Being dumb is a choice in the age of info. Well said. Well said. It's really true. It's like, and it goes down to like college and stuff. It's like, why would somebody pay $100,000 to go take Zoom college classes just to get a worthless piece of paper? Like, build something. Go build a company. Go on YouTube and learn some stuff for free. You know, people I have no incentive by saying this, but like, pay the $18 for the YouTube premium so there's no ads and you can just watch YouTube videos. That's the best. There are people out there that'll pay the $10 for Apple Music, that'll pay the, $10 or whatever for Netflix. I don't even have Netflix or anything like that, but they won't get the YouTube premium. Like, you have unlimited knowledge at your fingertips. Oh yeah, and they have YouTube Music. I actually use that instead of Apple Music now. But unlimited knowledge at your fingertips from actual people, and you could have no ads and just a great experience. And the best thing for it when I got that thing is you can go off the screen and you can just listen in your earpods, which is why I do the podcast strictly on YouTube. I need to start posting it on other places too, but that's pretty much free information. I mean, like $18 a month or $20 a month, pretty much free at that point to get. I mean, $240 a year to have unlimited knowledge, pretty much. I just think that it is the age of information. That was really well said, Raza. I appreciate what you're talking about. I understand there's loopholes around it, but it's the fluid nature to be able to just go off the screen, and like, that's more like if you're using YouTube on your phone and you put the ear pods in or whatever, and you can just walk around and listen to some, like, I'll put on like a Jordan Peterson podcast or something like that. I could just walk around and clean stuff and like use it as like a podcast and put it in the background of things. There's little things like that to me is worth it, but I understand there's workarounds for the geniuses out there. I know that you guys know how to do it. You got certain things. For me, I just don't want to deal with like being. It's pretty genius. I respect it. I respect it. I'll be honest with you. I respect it. But for me, I just buy it and forget about it. And it's really worth it to me. Like, I don't even have Netflix. That's how worth it is to me. I'd much rather watch. There's only so much time in the day that I can devote to consuming content. And the content I consume is like, I'll watch, a lot of Peter Schiff. I'll watch a lot of, Jordan Peterson stuff. I'll watch a lot of Graham Stephan stuff, let's say, or Andre Jenk, or, I'll just go on there. And it's like, I only have like 4 hours or 2 hours, 3 hours, to devote to this a day. And that's a lot. Sometimes only an hour. So it's like, yeah, I don't have time for Netflix. I don't even have a TV. I just have a computer. I have computers everywhere. I don't even have a TV near that's the one thing. I want to talk about health on the channel a little bit more, but one of the things that I just figured out recently, this is completely off subject, but getting the phone away from you at night, putting the phone in a different room from your bed, and no TV, no blue lights or anything like that. I've been sleeping a lot better ever since I did that. Sean says, you still watching Old Man Peter? You know what? Peter is on point when it comes to stuff like this. Like, what I would love to see? This is on this topic of this video. I would love to see Peter Schiff going in on Jay Powell. That would be amazing to me. If Jay Powell got criticized by Peter Schiff on a live feed, oh my God, give Peter Schiff the mic. Give him the mic. It would be the greatest thing ever to see Peter Schiff going in on Powell. He's to me, I think his son is in Bitcoin, and it's his way of preserving the Schiff family name so that he's, the gold sales guy, and then his son goes into Bitcoin. I don't want to get into that whole conversation, but I would, as a respect to Peter Schiff, he's on point with his criticisms of the Fed. He's on point with his criticisms of the government as being a libertarian. He is a true patriot in my mind. So if I'm going to say, I want to talk about the good in somebody too. He doesn't understand Bitcoin. It's at this point, it's like his shtick, I think, as you call it, something like that. It's just his way to, get attention. Most of his followers are Bitcoiners, but I think he understands it, but he just keeps going with it because it's his way to get views and stuff. And keep in mind, Peter Schiff's worth a lot of money. The guy's not broke. He's got like over 50 mil. He's doing pretty well. So I don't want to keep using his name that much, even though I do it quite a bit. Peter, apologize. I know you've commented on the channel before in the past. Would love to talk to you sometime, but it's, to me, I think that I have to respect his libertarian stance on things, and his criticism of the Fed is on point. Guy knows more about libertarian philosophies and, criticism of the Keynesian architecture, Keynesian economics. So you got to give him respect where respect's due. And I would pay $100 to watch a pay-per-view. I'd pay more. I'd pay $1,000. I don't even know how much I would pay to watch him criticize Jay Powell, to just sit there and be able to be the person. All these people asking Powell questions, it should be Peter Schiff alone in the room with Powell with just cameras on them. I would love to see him interview Powell. It would just be the greatest thing. If Peter Schiff ran for an office involved with like the Fed or something, being like, I would love to see Peter as the Secretary of Treasury. That'd be great. So that's what I could say about Peter. Yeah, his latest CPI episode, I watched that as well. Lynette Zhang is also great as well. Wild West Stacker, I agree with you. I'm still looking at all the comments. I'll keep this going for a little bit longer. We're at 75 likes. I'll tell you what, we get to 100 likes, we'll keep it going a little bit longer. I'll flip the timer over. We get to 100 likes. I'll do my cheesy little live streamer. Hit the like button. If you hit the like button, we'll keep this thing going. Hit the like button. I really do want to get these videos out there. That's why I do the comments. I like to go through the comments at the end of the live stream, just so that the video at the beginning can just get out there and this information starts getting to more people. Because if we do get enough likes, if enough people watch this content and get it out there, and I would appreciate if you subscribe to the channel. Would really, really appreciate you subscribing to the channel. I've been on a little bit of a plateau, and I'm trying to break the plateau and get up to 25K. Would mean a lot to me if you subscribe to the channel. If you resonate with the things that we're talking about here, would mean a lot to me. Would really appreciate it. Oh, they're making me put my money where my mouth is again. They put it like instantaneously went to 90 likes. That means there was 140 of you in here that you hadn't hit the like button yet. Come on, man. Come on. Hit the like button. You can't answer my questions in the comments of your Sean, I'm reading you. I'm reading you right now. Sean says you said Ninja is in the house. Me and Ninja are gonna go get vets together. What else? What other comments are? Put a comment on there. I'm watching it right now. Dr. Silver says plat or silver at these prices. Which one is better? Ooh, that's a good question. Both. I just bought some platinum literally today. Hang on, I'll show you. I'll show you something. Speaking of platinum, there's a cool little Pamp Suisse that just came in. But I think platinum, like I feel like I stole that platinum bar, to be honest with you. But yeah, it's to me, platinum, I don't see it getting any cheaper than where it is right now. I'm a big fan of platinum here. I think it's a great spot. Yeah, Sean, you have my attention. I mean, I have like a lot of messages on Instagram. I got a lot of messages everywhere, but I do but Sean, you can't just say I'm ignoring you. I'm here right now. Put your question in the comments, Sean. I'm right here, you know. I'm sorry. I'm not a robot. I'm a real person. I can only answer so many questions at so many times. I only got so much time in the day, but I'm here right now. If you want to ask the question, would love to hear it. I'd love to help in some way. The Economic Ninja, I watch you every day, every episode. Love. The Economic Ninja is in the house. What is up, Economic Ninja? That is rad. Economic Ninja, what is on your mind, man? What is on your mind? I would love to get you on the channel. I'm starting to do I'm excited to keep going with the podcast. I've done we're at 8 episodes now, 7 or 8 episodes of the podcast. So, and I have some pretty big guests coming in the near future, so I'm excited for the podcast. So if you're subscribed to the channel, be prepared for that. There's going to be, hey, I appreciate it. Economic Ninja in the house. Grab a 100-ounce bar. Do I have a 100-ounce bar over there? I've got some kilos over there, I think. I got a few cool silver kilos over there. A couple Londons. Let me know. Yeah, right on. Let me write that down so I remember. I got the squirrel brain. I forget stuff easily. One second. Economic. I'd love to get your thoughts on this, Ninja. Rick says, your videos have propelled me to buy silver, gold, platinum, and crypto. Keep in mind, I'm Bitcoin. I'm not crypto. I'm only Bitcoin, just to clarify that, Rick. But it hypes me up. What hypes me up, Rick, and I appreciate that comment a lot, because there's this, what Peter Schiff has done is he's made this like war between like Bitcoin and precious metals. And like, they're the same people. Like I know a lot of people in the Bitcoin community, specifically on Twitter. They're on Twitter. That's where the Bitcoiners are. If you want to know where the Bitcoiners are, they're on Twitter. But I've gotten to know a lot of them, and they're all libertarians. They're all like the precious metal stackers are all libertarians, and they're libertarians, and they're both the same. They're like the same people. But I think that it's foolish to think like, okay, I'm right, you're wrong. Bitcoin is going to go to zero, and only metals matter. It's like, that's not the right argument. The right argument is, how good of a risk manager are you? To not have any Bitcoin was bad risk management when it was down at 3,000-4,000. Obviously, it's at 50,000 right now, even with this pullback. You know, that's over a 10x return since March, since all this money printing. So, I mean, it's just bad risk management to not have any Bitcoin. I'd have a 5% position. If it's just me personally, my 5% position turned into over 50%. So it was good risk management to have that 5-10% position. It went well. So I just don't. I don't understand the hatred. I don't see like I know there's funny Bitcoiners have reached out to me to get into platinum and silver. People in platinum and silver have reached out to me to learn more about Bitcoin. There's actually a lot of similarities and a lot of crossing going on between the two communities. Peter took my Bitcoin for silver in 2017. I love it. Economic Ninja. If you could only Sean, is that Sean guy in here? Sean, I feel bad. Like he said, I asked a great question in your last video and you never answered it, and I DM'd you and you ignored me. Well, sometimes I miss a comment or two. I do my best to get to the comments, but when I'm doing these live feeds, I at least could answer it in real time. I didn't see you ask the question, so I'm here. You know, I don't see the question, but I would love to answer it for you, bud. Let me see. Here it is. Okay, me and my buddy were debating on. This is Sean's question here. Hang on. Me and my buddy were debating how he thinks inflation is going to surge to double or maybe even triple in 2022. But I think inflation has almost peaked and we are now getting to stagflation. Well, first, that question is not appropriate because, well, it's not right because in stagflation, you still have inflation. So I think you got to understand what stagflation is. Stagflation is when you have high inflation. You can't have stagflation without high inflation. So stagflation is when inflation is out of control and you also have high unemployment. You might think that it's only high unemployment. No, it's both. You have to have high inflation and high unemployment at the same time. Then you have a stagflation environment. So I think that is where the question, that's where you might want to understand a little bit more on that one. But Sean says he backs his statement by reverse repo market and derivatives and massive liquidation. I've sent it twice now in this section. Okay, well, that's my answer to that would be you would have high inflation in a stagflation environment. Everybody in the comments, you guys can criticize me if I'm wrong, but I believe that is correct. I've made quite a few videos on that, but you cannot have stagflation without high inflation. So I argue that we're in stagflation right now because I see inflation being out of control. And at the same time that inflation is out of control, I see high unemployment. That's how you have stagflation. Doge Ape says, why you Bitcoin maxis always hate on Doge? It's been around longer than others mentioned. I will answer that for you in this live stream, Doge Ape. And that's his name, by the way, Doge Ape. It's not decentralized. Your most Dogecoin holders, look at the Dogecoin millionaire. Well, now he's the Dogecoin 100,000aire, but the Dogecoin 100,000aire, he had his Bitcoin when he'd show it off on YouTube, right? He'd show it on a Robinhood screen. If you want to see a Bitcoin, here's Bitcoin right here. People in the Doge community don't do that. They don't come up to you and go, look, here's my Doge right here. I have full control of it. Not Robinhood, not some app, not some anything. Here's my Bitcoin right there. The people in the Doge community don't do that. The people in the Doge community don't understand how operating a node works. They don't understand how mining works. They don't understand the whole decentralized nature of Bitcoin. They don't understand that you can take custody of it. They're not doing their own. They're just not taking custody. They're putting it in Robinhood, and it's a highly centralized thing. What happens when Robinhood, if you want to sell your Doge, what happens if you have it in Robinhood and Robinhood crumbles? What happens then? What happens if the stock market's crumbling, Robinhood's only allowing you to sell, or worse, Robinhood's app isn't working. And then when you go to call them, they don't pick up the phone. This happened in 2007, by the way. What happens if Robinhood's app isn't working, they're not picking up the phone when you call them to get to Robinhood, and they gave up all of your information, on who owns Dogecoin. They gave it all up because all of it's right there for public information for you all. Is that not a centralized system? How would you feel if all your Doge is sitting there in some centralized system like that and you don't have access to it? It's foolish. It's not a store of value. It's not a currency. And if it is a currency, you're going to get marked as if you don't want to be a currency. You want to be an asset, because if you're a currency, they're going to see you as competition to the dollar and they're going to come after you. They're going to consider you, I don't know why my mind is drawing blanks, but this is something that Gary Gensler has been going after big time. They're going to consider you a security. So you don't want to be considered a security because then you're not going to make it. So, I mean, if they're classifying Bitcoin as an asset, that's where you want to be. You want to be in the thing that is considered a store of value and is decentralized, where you can have real custody of it. You don't want it to be on some centralized exchange through something that you think is going to be the future of currency. No, that's not going to happen, because then you're competing with the dollar. It's not going to happen. They're going to crush that. So I'm going to be in, and also that also doesn't make any sense when you understand the Lightning Network. When you understand the Lightning Network of Bitcoin, it completely invalidates the whole thesis of this. Oh, we're going to use Doge as money in the future. No, you're not. No, you're not. And it's also inflationary. We're talking about inflation here. Doge is also inflationary. It's an inflationary token. It's foolish. Shiba Inu will displace Doge, and then Shiba Inu will get displaced by some other dog coin, and then they'll all be gone. And then what happens is you have all these rivers where people are bouncing around in these altcoins that will all end up, after all this volatility, all these rivers bouncing around, it's all going to end up in the ocean that waits patiently underneath, and it's Bitcoin. So I'd rather just be in that ocean than in the crazy rivers above it. That's how I roll. That's where I'm at. It's not decentralized. There can only be one winner. Like if there another internet? Like no, when the internet succeeded, you didn't need to come up with another internet. You build layers on top of the internet. Bitcoin succeeded. It's the one to me. I think that Doge is foolish. And the worst part is it takes away from what could be so brilliant with Bitcoin. All of these, Bitcoin came out and the term altcoin came out because Bitcoin was the superior, and then all of a sudden altcoins came out as these little side coins. It's only Bitcoin. Bitcoin is like the internet to me. But I don't want to get on some crazy rant about that. But to me, it's about leverage. It's all about leverage. It's about taking money out of the bank and putting it into the people's hand. It's about individual sovereignty to me. And Doge just doesn't, that community doesn't do that. They just think, oh, I buy Doge on Robinhood, I'll become a millionaire from this, and that's how it rolls. It just isn't the way that it is. Bitcoiners are totally different when it comes to game theory and how this works out, and it's different. Bitcoin was discovered, altcoins are inventions. Well, I love that is a central thought, dropping some heat right there. That was cool, man. That's a good one. Bitcoin was discovered, altcoins are invention. That is correct. That is correct, central thought. That was well said. Edward says, "Hey, Edward, I like Ninja. I would like to have him on the channel at some point. I don't consider we're put an equal sign. We're equal. I appreciate the support, brother. Let me see here. Bitcoin is run. No, it's funny when we're doing the conversation on the Fed, you know, there was only like 100 people in here, but when we're just having the comment section going, we're at like 170 people in here. I appreciate you all being in here. I'll keep rolling with the comment conversation. We'll flip the timer. How about that? We'll flip the timer. Normally I'd say something like, if we get to 200 likes, I'll flip the timer. If we hit the 200 likes, I'll hit the timer. So if you want to like, I'd appreciate it if you like the video and get it out to more people, but I'll flip the timer anyway. We'll talk a little bit longer. But, you putting your cold storage in a Bitcoin that's EMP. I understand. The thing is, in an EMP situation, it would survive because I have my 24 words. So I could just upload my 20. As long as you have your 24 words, it doesn't matter. So the EMP actually wouldn't take out Bitcoin. It would just take out like nodes and stuff like that in that specific area. But in that situation, I mean, you're talking massive devastation. That's the last thing on your mind is like in that scenario. That scenario just doesn't play out to me because like that is just a crazy scenario for that to happen. There's network. ETH network will never. Razda in the house. Razda, I respect you, man. I agree with you. Yeah, Ethereum is to me, I think it's just people are just trading it. And the other thing about Bitcoin is I'm not looking to trade it. I'm looking to leverage it in the future. I'll never declare a capital gain on it because I'll never sell it. People with Ethereum and with these altcoins, they're buying it to sell it. They're buying it so somebody pumps their bag. Bitcoiners are buying it to hold it out and to leverage it in the future. It's just a different environment. Any thoughts on Cardano? Cardano. Shout out Yellow. This guy on Twitter is funny with this. I don't like it. I only like Bitcoin. There's nothing else there for me to want to put my capital into. I was already extremely skeptical about Bitcoin. I'm into precious metals. I'm into platinum. I'm into silver bars. If I went and grabbed some silver bars, I could have a lot of silver bars here. But I like real tangibles that I can touch. I like collectibles. I like things like that. Ideally, I like bullion that's collectible. That's a really cool market. That's what I really like is collectible bullion. But my skepticism in Bitcoin was really up there. And at this point, I'm pretty far down the rabbit hole with it. And I just don't see any other token out there that is decentralized like Bitcoin is, or to see that can do what Bitcoin does. And there's also like a sense of It's like a purity. It feels pure when you realize that this is the only one that really matters, and then you don't have to worry about all these other tokens on the market. It's just only that one, and that's the only one I like, and I hold that one, the most decentralized one, the one that I have in cold storage. That one. I don't like it being on any exchanges. I don't like it leveraged with any bank. If you watch that podcast I did with Mario, I really went hard on him. Mario from Ledin, who does this like lending service against Bitcoin, but he answered all the questions pretty well. And I planned it with a podcast. I plan to really kind of ask tough questions on stuff like that. But anyway, I don't want to rant too much on it. If you like collectibles, you like NFTs, right? No, I do not. I do not like NFTs. I think that there's like the NFT market is there's part of me that's a hustler that knows how the collectibles market works, that wants to make money off NFTs, but like I can't wrap my head around it. It doesn't make sense to me to think that like a JPEG is going to be worth a bunch of money just because you own the property of that JPEG. It just doesn't make sense. Thoughts on silver prices? It's a steal. That's what I think about silver prices right now. If I'm being quiet about something, I planned actually today, I was thinking about making a video on this. Once this live stream is up, I have a few videos I want to shoot afterwards, but if I'm being quiet about something, it's because I'm accumulating. When it comes to platinum, like, why is this 10-ounce platinum bar here? It's part of me accumulating. I'm buying right now. When the market is extremely low, sometimes I don't have time to make a video. I'm just buying. Like, I look at silver is like they're giving silver away right now. It makes no sense to me at all. Especially when we're being told inflation is at 6.8%, which is not even the real figure, but we're saying 6.8%. It's laughable. Like, it doesn't make any sense at all. So for me, it's like my portfolio. You don't need to sign up for a Patreon. You don't need to sign up. You could subscribe to my channel and show me a little bit of support on the channel and click subscribe. I would really appreciate it somewhere over there. If you click subscribe, that would be rad. But excuse me, I have nothing to sell you. My portfolio is Bitcoin, silver, platinum, palladium collectibles. Bitcoin, silver, platinum, palladium collectibles. Boom. There's my portfolio on the table. There you got it. You didn't have to pay nothing for it. You got my whole portfolio right there. Palladium is like, you could steal palladium right now, I'm pretty sure. Christopher, 1 ounce coins, do you favor or disfavor? I just like the bricks. I like the hundreds, 50s, 20s. I like bricks. If you follow me on Instagram, if you go to my Instagram, at Rob Sultan on Instagram, I've been posting a lot more pictures of the stuff that I collect. The stuff, I'm not selling any of the stuff that I'm posting on that page right now. I'm just kind of showing off things from my personal collection. So if you want to go to my Instagram, at Rob Sultan, let me show that one more time, at Rob Sultan on Instagram, at ROBSOLTN, Instagram, at Rob Sultan on Instagram. Go follow me now. Quick, boom. Go. And then if you go over there, let me show that real quick. I'm trying to look cool over there on Instagram, guys. Help me out. But on Instagram, I've been posting pictures of like the collectible bullion, things like that I collect. Rolexes. I actually just bought a new Rolex President. And it's funny, like I'll buy something and some people might look at a Rolex and go, wow, that's gaudy. Why would you buy that Rolex? I bought a Rolex for $19,000 that's now worth around $30,000 after all of this. I've just bought another Rolex that I bought for around $15,000. I think it's going to be worth around $25,000, $30,000 when all said and done. Like, I like to buy things that I think are collectible, and so I will share on my Instagram what specific markets I like and where I tie up capital, because it's not just silver, it's not just platinum, it's not just Bitcoin. It's things that I think are undervalued, or like one of my favorite things to do is find markets that aren't appreciated yet. Like the vintage bullion market was a market that wasn't appreciated like 5 years ago, and that's where my niche was vintage bullion. It wasn't appreciated, and now it's wildly appreciated, where there's silver bars out there that go for thousands of dollars an ounce. It would blow your mind, like bars from the 1800s, bars from the 1900s. And I post some of this stuff on my Instagram, so you can check it out over there. But I like collectibles, like silver, I like platinum, I like palladium, I like industrial precious metals, and I like Bitcoin. That's pretty much my portfolio. That is true, Raza. The sound money comes from this. Got a pretty hum to it. Platinum's got a specific sound money to it. I swear, when a 10-ounce platinum, when you hold a platinum bar, it's got a different feel to it. It really does. It's like, that's a unique metal, especially with these. I like these little Pamp Fortunas. Let me get to a few more questions here. Rolex flipping is real. And the Rolex market, I watched a Tiffany Rolex. There's a Tiffany dial Rolex, and I knew I should have bought a couple of those when they first came out, and they were like 11, 12, 13, 14, 15,000. One just went for like 25 to 30,000 on an auction. Just a stainless steel Tiffany dial Rolex. It's like new. They just came out with that one. It's like just certain parts of the Rolex market are just skyrocketing. So I am starting to get into the rare watch market, and I have been buying a few pieces and selling a few pieces here and there. It is a big, big industry and marketplaces, the Rolex and watch market. I mean, the Tiffany Patek just went for 6-point-something million on auction. What? But yeah, the collectibles market is absolutely booming right now, and that includes these NFTs, which I have no idea why the NFTs are booming right now. Like I can't wrap my head around paying that much for these JPEGs. It just doesn't make sense to me. I mean, you could pay a graphic designer to shoot those out and like. Anyway, I don't know. I don't understand. I like tangibles. I like real collectibles. Some people won't like me for saying that, but I think in the future, like there is money to be made in like the flip game. So if you're buying NFTs with the intent to flip, mark them up 25% and flip and flip and flip, props to you, you know. But for me, I can't get involved in that, and like I don't see any long-term value there. I see that it's a cool flip game right now. I'd be involved in the flip game if I was in the NFT game. I agree. Silver is much needed for technology, cars, chips, etc. You'd be surprised how much silver is in those Teslas. You're right. Rob, last question I have. What exchange do you recommend for crypto? I actually really, for the beginner, the workflow on Cash App is, and I get nothing for saying this. I'm not sponsored by them. Jack, are you watching? Please sponsor me. But the Cash App workflow is really good. I owe Cash App for like my first coin I bought was on Cash App, the first full Bitcoin. It was just an impulse buy and that's another thing about Bitcoin is really overlooked with Bitcoin is how many people are impulse buying it through the exchanges. Like if you go to Robinhood, and I would not buy it. That's the one exchange. I would not buy it on Robinhood. Any exchange that does not allow you to send the Bitcoin out of the exchange into cold storage and take full custody of your Bitcoin is not an exchange to use. That's how I would answer that question actually. Because I own 0 Bitcoin. I own 0. That's how much 0 Bitcoin I own in exchanges. 0. Excuse me. None. I own all my Bitcoin. Nobody else does. Only me. But that would be the best answer to the equation. But I do, for a beginner, for somebody that's buying a couple grand worth, Cash App is a really cool workflow for Bitcoin. And they're only Bitcoin, so it doesn't confuse you. Cash App, I would say, is the best for a beginner. I like Cash App. Let me see here if I missed any questions. Coinbase works. Coinbase works as well, as long as you get it out of there, you know, and you send it out. I think they make you wait like 7 days to send it out of Coinbase. Where Cash App, if it's like $2,000 a day, $5,000 a week on Cash App, that you can send out immediately right when you buy it. So if you buy $2,000, you can send it out like immediately out of Cash App. Which I like. But Coinbase, I think they make you wait if you don't wire the money in. If you wire into Coinbase, I think you can send it immediately. But if you do it like with a debit card or something, it makes you wait like a week before you can send the Bitcoin out and take custody of it. But yeah, I mean, any exchange that is fair on their prices and allows you to take the Bitcoin out, because once the Bitcoin's taken out, then you own the Bitcoin, then it's in your custody. So that's my answer to that. I'll answer a few more of these. I started this live stream at 6 and it's 7:08. This is an hour and 8-minute live stream ranting on the Fed and taking some questions here. Razda, are you questioning if I'm a Bitcoiner or not? Is that what you're doing by saying that? I can't answer that. Let me see here. Rob, where do you mostly buy your gold and silver from? I'm a dealer, so I have wholesale connections. I've been taking a step back because I've been redoing the website, and I'm going to launch something that's more. I can't talk about it too much right now, but I'm going to launch something pretty soon, and I'm excited about it. So If you're subscribed to the channel, you'll see when I launch it. But there's a reason I don't advertise other people's stuff. If I advertise, it's going to be advertising my business on this channel. So I'm not advertising nothing. I've been getting a ton of offers in my email. I don't even know where they get. Oh, they probably get my email from the About section on YouTube, huh? But I've been getting a lot of emails on like digital gold companies and this and that and things that I don't agree with. If you're going to own gold, if you're going to own silver, if you're going to own precious metals, own the real thing. Own it. Own the real thing. Not a digital number in somebody else's custody. If you're going to own Bitcoin, send it into your own cold storage. Don't hold it in an exchange. Own it. If you're going to own platinum, put it on your table. Don't put it in some platinum ETF. That's how I feel about that. This live telecast appeared to me only a minute ago. YouTube. See, this is why people need to subscribe to the channel, because YouTube is things need to be getting out there to more people. Maybe this is too controversial of a subject to criticize Jay Powell. I don't know. But I enjoy doing these live streams. I haven't been doing these live streams in a while, so I'm excited to be back on here doing these live streams. First time I've watched you was awesome. Hey, I appreciate that. JJKW. Means a lot to me. Oh God, VT247. VT247 has been here since the beginning. I appreciate you, man. You like my first videos. He was on here, but and always has great comments. But it's crazy the trolls on YouTube. It's like how they haven't got on top of that with the WhatsApp thing. I have to individually get like I don't like deleting comments, but if it's like some WhatsApp impersonating me, I have to do something about it. So it's ridiculous. Just know every YouTuber out there isn't going to go market to you in the comments. They're not going to do that. Their marketing is going to be in the description of their actual video or in the video. They're not going to market to you in the comments. So just know that. Watch out for that. I don't know about the thing that removing the dislike button. It really bothers me, actually. I try to like bite my tongue about like major criticisms because I'm on this, but that was the way to like a true voting. That was like a real voting system. Like my videos, it hypes me up when if I get 99% like rate on a video, that means the content is worthwhile. And so when I go watch a video, that was the first thing I'd look at. Well, how many likes to dislikes? Okay, well, there's a lot of dislikes. It's probably not worth my time. I'm gonna go to a different video. Like especially if it's like an informal video, like it's teaching you how to do something, you rely on that like dislike because you go, okay, well, obviously this was a good teacher. This person taught the information well. There's a lot of likes there. I'm going to watch this one. So that would not, if I was a CEO, that would not be a decision I would have made personally. If anything, I would have doubled down on that to make it like very secure. It is what it is. That's my opinion on it. I'll answer a few more questions here. Let me see. You don't own mining securities. I don't own mining securities. SAS crypto, I don't. I just own the real thing. I really want to know what happens when all BTC is mined and held by a small percentage of the population. I think that's a misconception. All the Bitcoin will be mined. I think it's going to be like 100 years from now or something. It's actually really, really far in the future, multiple lifetimes, I believe, in the future. I'd have to double check on that, but it's not anytime soon. And the other thing too is it's divisible by 100 million units of account. And you'd find that out if you buy Bitcoin on Cash App, you'll see that you can denominate in Satoshis. A Satoshi is like, so if you have $1, you have 100 cents under the dollar, right? A Satoshi is the unit of measure of a Bitcoin. So you have a Bitcoin, you have 100 million Satoshis underneath a Bitcoin. It takes 100 million Satoshis, just like it takes 100 cents to get $1, it takes 100 million Satoshis to get a full Bitcoin. So it's so divisible that it's going to continue to there's going to be early adopters, like, somebody that's in Bitcoin early, but that's going to be able to be very, very divisible, much more divisible than $1 is. It's extremely divisible. It's just hard capped, but extremely divisible underneath it. And once you understand Satoshis, that's when you understand that Dogecoin is worthless. Shots fired. And Satoshis will, when you understand Satoshis and you understand the Lightning Network, it changes your whole outlook on any of the tokens out there that say, oh, well, we're the next currency. It's like, you need to understand what Satoshis and the Lightning Network is. But anyway, people see that's the community that I've built. I built a community of hustlers on here on YouTube. I see people like actually literally flipping things in the comments in my videos on a live stream. That's some next level stuff right there. I appreciate you all. That's respect, guys. Respect. Got people flipping things in the comments. Let's go. Let me see. Nancy says, thank you for sharing your insights and analysis. You are terrific. Thank you, Nancy. It means a lot to me. Thank you. I'm really this is my way of being social. Normally I'm introverted, just like trying to build some stuff, but being able to do the YouTube thing, it helps me a lot more than people might know, to be able to just to put my thoughts out there. I feel I'm angry all day thinking about this Fed meeting and listening to it, and then I get to talk about it, and it's like I get to vent to everybody on here, and we get to vent together in these live streams, and that's why I miss them. I haven't been doing these live streams, and I miss doing them. But yeah, it's my venting process. So thank you for being my therapist for the day, everybody. I appreciate you guys. All the guys and girls out there, thank you for being here. I appreciate you. We can vent together. Hey, someone says, yo, just got home. You mind starting over? I will post the video. All my videos post. But if you want to know more about what I do every day, what the things I collect, all that stuff, and you want to reach out to me, you can actually DM me. There is on Instagram, at Rob Sultan on Instagram. Make sure to follow me on Instagram. Shoot me a DM. I do go through the DMs on Instagram, and I try my best to get through them. It might take me a week, might take me a day. I don't know how I'm feeling, but usually I get through all of my messages on Instagram. So go to my Instagram if you want to know what I do for a business, if you want to know stuff about me, you want to know what I collect, all that stuff. I'm more personal on the Instagram thing, and I'm starting to post there a lot more. I've been posting some of my collectibles on there. So at Rob Sultan on Instagram, very easy to find it. Same name, and I actually got the handle. So on Twitter, I had to get RJ Sultan. I put RJ Sultan. That was annoying, but I got Rob Sultan on Instagram, so that makes me feel good about that. So at least I got that. But with that being said, we will conclude this live stream. If you want to smash the like button and turn the like button from gray to blue to get this video out to more people, I'd really appreciate it. Really would mean a lot to me if you smash the like button before we close this one down. And if you want to be subscribed to the channel and help me get to 25,000, would really mean a lot to me as well. I think we're at 24,400 at the time of making this video. So would really hype me up if you guys could share this video, my videos rather, and get this content out there, because I really am trying my best to teach the average individual out there what's going on with the Fed and actually break it down in more simplified perspective, where people can actually digest this information and understand what's going on. To sum it up, we're working wages that are deflationary, that are being paid in an inflationary currency, and that's just trapping society. And it's just scary to see what's happening right now, because it's literally like children are in control. And to summarize this entire video, if Powell really cared about inflation, he would do something right now. If the Fed really cared about inflation being out of control, they would do something right now. They would not kick the can down the road and say, well, at the end of 2022, we're going to raise it to 0.9%, which isn't going to do anything, even if they did that right now. If they did 0.9% right now, it wouldn't do anything besides collapse the market, and then they would get into a scary scenario where they have to print and print and print more because of them collapsing the market because of that. So it's like they're in a rock and a hard place. There's no way out. This whole system is just wild to me. But let me know in a comment down below. Everybody that's been in the live stream, really appreciate you all for being in the live stream. If you're watching this after the live stream, throw some comments down below. Let other people know your thoughts on this. I would really appreciate your insights as well. That's how we all learn together. But please do subscribe to the channel. I think I've said that like 40 times in this live stream. So maybe 4 of you, 5 of you, 10 of you might subscribe. It's worth it. But thanks again. Appreciate you all. Have a great rest of your evening, and expect a lot more videos and a lot more podcasts. I actually separated the podcast on the channel to its own playlist. So if you go to the playlist section on the YouTube channel, it's a little bit more easy to navigate now, and I hope that helps. But I'm really excited about the guests I've been bringing onto this podcast. situation here as well, and a lot more content to be dropped as well on the channel. So look forward to that. Thank you again. I will see you at the next video. Signing out.